Greetings, and welcome to a special loincloth party episode of Genre Grinder. With me today is returning guest and my friend Luana Saitta. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing, Gabe?
Pretty good, pretty good. We just had a long-ass conversation before this, so we got up real good. So today we're talking about B all the way down to Z grade fantasy and barbarian films released in the 1980s. And I was originally calling this the B fantasy movies of the 80s, but part of me really likes the alliteration of B barbarian movies of the 80s, so I might change the name. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if you want an alliteration, Sword and Sorcery is right there.
That's true. Is there a lot of sorcery? I guess there's one of the titles is sorcery, but there's we'll get to that. That's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not particularly well versed in fantasy. And I skewed towards science fiction as a kid and a teen and a young adult. And I think that the closest I got to fantasy fandom was cartoons when I was young, like Visionaries, which, if you don't know, is the subject of my second podcast, which I will update eventually. I was thinking about this, and I also liked the first Beastmaster. That was on cable TV all the time here in the States. So
yeah, I'm aware of the HBO joke. Hey, Beastmaster's on.
Yeah, it's true. There you go. Hey, Beastmaster's on, exactly. But believe it or not, Beastmaster. Somebody actually asked me. My friend, I told him, my friend Chad, we were doing this. He said, "Oh, you're going to cover Beastmaster?" And I said, "No, I said B fantasy. Beastmaster's too close to A level entertainment for what we're doing today." Oh, and then I also, as a kid, I was really, because I was an arty kid, I was really into Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo.
Oh, really? Like you were into Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo without like reading the books that they painted the covers for?
Yeah, I just liked the pictures and the art. I think it was something about coming into that in the 90s. I think that there was sort of a resurgence of posters. I definitely, my mom got me a calendar every year. And so I started to ask for, and she didn't like me to watch, movies with nudity or read them, but she was okay with me having artistic nudity. And so I had Frank Frazetta, Boris Vallejo, and H.R. Geiger calendars. And she was like, whatever, okay.
Okay, that's wild because like that's stuff that you showcase in your room,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like a movie is something you discreetly watch in your house and is limited in time. Those Vallejo or Frazetta or whatever posters would constantly be there,
Yeah, right next to my bed. I had bunk beds. And a Frank Frazetta, H.R. Geiger, Boris Vallejo, all those guys. I trying to remember some of the other artists. Those are the three that always come to me. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I kind of came to the idea of pulp art rather than actual pulp literature. And so part of the reason I asked you specifically if you wanted to do this is it's twofold thing. And the first one is important because you yourself have become a fantasy writer.
Yeah.
Recently, and I think, yeah, I would consider you at least B level at this point.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to offer you, a commercial for your writing, and my dozens upon dozens of people that listen to my podcast will now know about it. But the other reason is that I enjoy and had watched all three of these films before. I kind of enjoy them on an ironic level, and I only really found fantasy fandom in the last decade, 15 years, maybe 20. And it was partially due to prodding from you and our mutual friend Lauren.
Okay, yeah.
I had played Witcher 3, and you guys encouraged me to read the books. And so I had a job cleaning the apartment at the time, and I listened to all of them on tape, and I sort of fell in love with them.
Oh, that's great.
So
I didn't even know that. Cool.
Yeah. And then the other thing is after that I saw you two praising the Kurt Busiek Dark Horse Conan
Conan series, yeah.
And so I got into those. And then they were so good they kind of ruined the character for me because it's just such a rich just a version of it that then I rewatched the movie, which is going to come up a lot. And Arnold's version of the character was no longer as good to me because I had fallen in love with the Dark Horse Comics version of the character, who's just a very different character.
With you and Alien and Predator, huh? Like you're a Dark Horse, Alien, and Predator fan.
That's true. I didn't even think it. Yeah. I'm a huge Dark Horse, Alien, Predator fan. I loved both the actually all the all three of the last Predator movies and Alien Earth
Hmm.
all reminded me of those comics a lot.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
that's funny because like obviously you came to the Dark Horse Alien and Predator stuff on your own,
yeah, as
and
a
you
kid.
yeah, and you recently admitted that like maybe I think like I'm primarily a Dark Horse comic Alien and Predator fan, even though you like quite a few of the movies,
Yeah, I
and
think
so
I like almost all the movies, I think. I mean,
right.
maybe not AVPR, but pretty much all the other ones.
That's a
I don't know if
that's
that
a
one
dark haired step. I want to say redheaded, but red is way too bright a color for
way too
AVPR.
bright. Yeah, yeah. You can see
Uh,
red.
yeah. No, so it's funny that Conan kind of did the same. Like the Dark
Yeah.
Horse Conan is way no same actually. That was ironically that was my gateway into the Conan character as well. I had seen the John Milius movie as a kid, but like
Hmm.
it is kind of a weird standout compared to other entries in Arnold's filmography
Hmm.
because the Milius Conan is not really an Arnold vehicle as such. It is a it is Milius's very much Milius's take on Conan, and Arnold was not yet the that was his breakout role. It was he was not yet the
Yeah.
powerhouse that he would become. Like in later years, a project that would get Arnold into its orbit would inevitably become an Arnold project.
Right.
And if you grew up on Predator, Commando, whatever, Total Recall, these are very much Arnold movies. You go in there for Arnold's persona, and he's it's not really there yet in
No.
that first Conan. And so as a kid, I was like, okay, there's technically stuff in here I like, but this is kind of a weird movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. So ultimately, like a decade or so later in the early O's, I bumped into those Dark Horse Conan comics. I was like, oh yeah, this is Conan's deal. Yeah, I like this stuff.
The Arnold was almost hired specifically because he was a good bodybuilder, I think,
Hmm.
for that role.
Yeah, because he looked
Um,
like a Frazetta painting, basically.
exactly. And I know I actually watched the that came out on 4K recently, so I had to review it. And there's plenty of footage of Milius saying like, "Oh, I thought Arnold. I saw him in Pumping Iron, and I knew he had the attitude for it." But I honestly don't believe him. I think he just liked the way he looked because he gives him hardly any lines too.
Yeah, he's got like 20 lines in the whole
Yeah,
movie or something. Yeah.
Conan's very verbose in
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
yeah. I've read some of the books. I mostly just read the comics. I know the comics adapt a lot. I also played the video game with my friend for way too long. It's a very silly video game with not much to do other than build things, but I really
Oh,
liked it.
Exiles.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
quite like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I've played hours and hours of Exiles without actually achieving anything, just sort of wandering around and building stuff.
Did you have like a little follower army of like crocodiles?
Yeah, yeah, you get pets. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
the best is building a big base and then getting a million animals and then making bad guys chase you into your base and then
And then the
watching your
animals
animal
eat them.
friends just destroy them.
Ironically, that makes you more of a James Earl Jones than a than an
Yeah,
Arnold.
that's true. That's true. There have been low budget fantasy movies forever.
Right.
But there was something about the combination of rising home video popularity and the success of Conan the Barbarian that sort of made
Hmm.
a perfect little storm for a flurry of these movies in the 80s. And I think the only other contributing factor I could figure out was Desmond Davis's Clash of the Titans, which was
Hmm.
something like every kid was required
Right.
to watch,
Uh-huh.
basically. What is the line from Wayne's World? It was issued to you in the mail with soap with dish soap coupons or something like that.
It is kind of weird because, like, okay, sure, I'll grant you Clash of the Titans because it's got like a Pegasus and a
Yeah,
Medusa and whatnot, stuff that a kid would go nutty for. But Milius's Conan is a weird one to have kicked such a
yeah.
fad off because it it is. I mean, I like the movie, but it's hardly an action movie.
No, not
It's like
really.
this prehistoric melodrama or
Yeah,
something. So the fact that not only that, it spawned dozens of cheap imitators, it also launched its star's career.
yeah,
That's crazy if you
yeah,
think about it.
yeah. I mean, I if I'm 100% honest, I don't particularly like the movie that much. I think it's an amazing soundtrack and
Uh-huh.
visually really nice and cool. And I like the part where uh, James Earl Jones turns into a snake.
Hmm.
Um, but it's never been like one of my favorite Arnold movies or one of my favorite 80s movies for sure.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you that it's a little strange, but it hit with people like it.
Right, yeah.
Well, and part of the reason this worked out well is I was like three movies, and I realized I could pick like the exact like the culprits of these kinds of movies, which are the Italians, always,
Hmm.
uh, Roger Corman,
Yes.
and the Cannon Group. And in
Yeah.
the 80s, those are the three groups of people that make rip-offs of Hollywood movies.
Hmm.
And it's a sort of like lost art. Rip-offs of Hollywood movies now are streaming service gunk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the same. I mean, I'm sure there's some good fun dumb movies in there, but it's just there's so much of it now, whereas this was like something you could stumble across and I certainly stumbled across Sorceress by accident.
Hmm.
I did not go seek this movie out or any of these. Well, no, I seeked out the second movie we're going to talk about, but for
Yeah.
different reasons. But
Hmm.
I just thought it was kind of cool that I found three movies because there was a lot of other choices, and I'm gonna talk about some of those when we talk about each movie. There was a lot. It was a big thing in the 80s, like, and it kind of died
Hmm.
off pretty
Right.
quickly in the 90s. It's just
Hmm.
sort of a weird little bump in time. Then yeah, we'll get started then. The first movie we watched was The Sorceress from
Hmm.
1982. I'm gonna do my usual thing. I'm just gonna repeat the letterboxed synapses here. So they say twin warrior sisters raised in the wilderness and trained for battle must survive a bizarre world of monsters, cultists, zombies, and barbarians as they prepare for a final showdown with the father who once tried to destroy them. I mean, that is sort of the plot of the movie, but
Hmm.
that does not tell you much about the movie and what's going on in this movie, which is not to be confused with a 1995 Julie Strain erotic horror movie, also called The Sorceress. That kept on coming up when I was trying to find information on this one. As I would
Right.
like Julie Strain, I don't remember her being in this, but
Right.
uh, the credits will tell you this was directed by someone named Brian Stewart and written by Jim uh, Wynorski. But Stewart is a non de plume for Jack Hill, and Hill also rewrote Wynorski's script while filming. So this is a Jack Hill joint, except that apparently producer Roger Corman did a bunch of stuff that pissed Hill off, and hence him removing his name.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I think most listeners are aware of who Roger Corman was because I think Patrick and I have covered his movies a million times.
Hmm.
Um, but if you're not familiar with Jack Hill, here's a quick primer. He was associated with Corman a lot of times. He was in various capacities in movies like The Wasp Woman and Battle in the Sun and The Terror. And his directorial debut was a sexploitation quickie called Mondo Keyhole, followed by some co-directing gigs, and his first great movie, which is still his best movie, which is Spider Baby, which is a sort of basically Spider Baby is the movie Rob Zombie's been trying to make since the early 2000s.
Okay.
Very sweet little horror comedy that you can even see things from Texas Chainsaw Massacre took from it. It's not scary; it's
Oh.
a comedy, but it's a great little movie.
Hmm.
And then he found his groove, and he's responsible for making Pangreer a star. Basically, he supposedly
Hmm.
discovered her, and he put her in women in prison movies, The Big Dollhouse, The Big Birdcage, and then he wrote title roles for her for Coffee and Foxy Brown, which you're probably two of the better blaxploitation original run blaxploitation movies. He made Switchblade Sisters, and then he didn't solo direct anything again until The Sorceress, which ended up being his last movie because it went so badly.
Hmm. Oh.
So not a huge filmography, but he's has a handful of really vital exploitation movies. I mean, the
Right.
women in prison subgenre probably wouldn't exist as it does if it hadn't been for him.
Hmm.
Not that it's one of my favorite subgenres, but so that's where we're coming from. That's like I want to over talk over you, but that's so I don't know if you were aware of Jack Hill very much before you watched Sorceress, which if that's unfortunate, if this is the only Jack Hill movie you've ever seen.
I'm sorry to report it is.
Yeah.
I was aware of Foxy Brown of Coffee.
Hmm.
I've never seen the actual films. I've seen some screenshots from them,
Hmm.
but not the. I guess the I looked at when in the early 2000s you had the rapper Foxy Brown, and I
Hmm.
looked up
Right.
where her name came from. It's like, oh, it's a Pam Grier movie. She's the lady from the Tarantino movie, and
Yeah.
so. little teen Luana went to, like, who is this Barbarian? So I kind of knew random trivia and information about these movies. I did not know they were from the same director. Spider Baby seems very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. I like that movie
Right.
a lot.
And
Um,
he apparently worked with Boris Karloff a couple times, which
yep,
is kind of wild.
yep. Yeah, and he, I mean, Spider Baby has a thing where he went out of his way to hire a retired actor who was basically, and when he was younger, there, those kind of racist horror movies that back in the day, there was always a black guy who going, "Feets don't feel me now," and uh, Jack Hill went out of his way to hire that specific actor to
Oh,
appear as
cool.
the first victim at the beginning of Spider Baby,
Hmm.
just because of and gave the guy another job. And
Oh,
yeah, I highly recommend Spider Baby. If we were talking about family horror, I guess
yeah, right, right.
it would definitely be up there. Um,
Okay, no, cool. That definitely sounds good. So yeah, unfortunately, his final and most dramatic film is the first ever Jack Hill movie I've seen. So I guess there is an element of tragedy for those in the know. To
yes,
such.
exactly. If
Uh,
you're going by the credits, you don't even know it is Jack Hill.
yeah.
Even if you knew who he was, you wouldn't
Mhm.
know. You would just
I'm
assume he was
surprised he
some.
didn't Alan Smithy it.
Yeah, well, yeah, he just yeah, exactly. That would have maybe Corman wouldn't let him. I don't know. And I should say it's not clear to me that this was specifically made to cash in on Conan the Barbarian because it premiered in October
Right.
and Conan didn't hit theaters until May of that year. So that but there's also this whole thing of mockbusters that are sort of in production when you hear that a big studio is making something like
Right, right,
shit,
right.
this might be a hit. It's always very funny when they do that for movies that aren't hits. Can't think of one off the top of my head, but some movie that they're like, I don't know, I don't think this happened, but if for instance they had made a bunch of Cowboys and Aliens ripoffs and then
Yeah.
Cowboys and Aliens wasn't a hit, that would have been very funny.
No, yeah, totally. Yeah, I gotta say that, like, for for a movie that is, it's got it's an exploitation movie. It's a
Mhm.
cheap quickie. It's got violence. It's got boobies, but like it's so wild that like it's got a good amount of nudity and some off-screen rape,
Yeah,
but
for jokes.
there's um,
For jokes, the rape jokes are,
yeah,
a little
exactly.
much.
Uh, but like the comedy is so aimed at small children.
Yes.
They made up like Jar Jar characters in there.
Mhm, mhm,
Um,
yeah.
so, so one wonders, like, what, yeah, I'm hearing now that okay, they took the movie away from Hill, or Corman like recut it or something. Like, I wonder what did he put the titties in, or did he put the Jar Jars in? I feel like these things weren't in the original plan together, at least.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things is that, apparently, Corman cut out an entire reel,
Mm,
um, which is a lot. That's a lot of movie, that's
right, right.
apparently there is a 2+ hour cut of this somewhere, which I don't think I would ever wanna watch because this movie is very silly and fun in parts, but man, that would be a lot. He said that the script wasn't his originally, but he rewrote all of it.
Right.
So maybe the Jar Jar Binks character, as you're calling this horrible goat thing, that's just
Right.
a pervert satyr basically, who only communicates in Boz or bleats, is very awful. That's an awful, terrible, horrible character that you don't want to be around. He said in interviews, Hill said that he really wanted Sid Haig for that role because he and Sid Haig had been working together since he also basically discovered Sid Haig, um, who is very young in Spider Baby and is basically in all of those. I actually got to meet Pam Grier at a con once, and there was a separate con across the street where Sid Haig was. So I had him sign it, and then I took it to her, and she was so happy to sign the other half. And it's the one time in my life where I met a celebrity that I literally could not speak. Just words would not form because she's so amazing to be around. She has such beautiful aura to her that I
Oh,
she
that's
was
so
like,
cool.
"Oh, Sid, he's so nice. Is he doing okay? He's over across the street." And I
Aw.
just kind of went, "Uh." um but but yeah, so maybe he had a plan for that. I could see Sid Haig doing that as an annoying but funny character, like saying like pithy one-liners and stuff
Right,
instead of
right.
just bleeding.
Yeah. He looks like he's fucking maybe one step above Torgo from Mono's Hands of Fate.
Yeah.
Uh, in terms of
Yeah,
speech.
basically very similar kind of makeup job. I guess the face part doesn't look terrible, but the
Right.
man, the legs do not work at all. Just don't make your cloven hooved character. Just don't do it. If you don't have the effects budget, just make him something else. I don't know what else, but just make him a creature. He doesn't have to be an existing thing.
Oh yeah, and the other Jar Jar Binks character, that damn gorilla.
Yeah, yeah. Who is that? I mean, just I mean, this movie came out the same year as Return of the Jedi, and you had to pay the same amount of money to see those in theater. I just kept
Imagine
on
being a
thinking
kid
it.
and
Looking at that gorilla and then looking at, Chewbacca,
yeah,
who's like
or the
a
Ewok
full
or whatever.
a
Yeah.
character. Well, actually, that's going to come up in the next movie. Chewbacca will, but yeah, these like they're basically just masks. They're really, and there's this
Yeah.
sort of implication that this whole society of gorilla people are doing what they're doing because they're being promised sex with women later, or sex
Right.
sex with like this sorceress character. There's a lot of reviews of this that say it's called the sorceress and there isn't a sorceress in the movie, and there kind of is one lady who's kind of a sorceress. I
Yeah, like, she's sorcerer's coded. I don't know if she does magic per se, but, like, yeah,
Yeah,
for it's kind of like that bad guy in the Disney's Hunchback. 'Cause, like,
yeah.
he's technically not a bishop or whatever, but he's a fancy man who is, like,
Yeah,
weird about women and is always hanging around the church, so,
yeah.
uh, so, yeah, I feel like you could point to that lady and be like, that is the sorceress, actually. But you know what? Even though, you know, fucking Squint and she's a sorceress, I do have to say that she's not the character that you'd name the movie
No,
after.
she's she's Eveline or Evelyn from,
Right,
like,
right,
she's
uh-huh.
not an important she's a henchwoman.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you were to name the movie, you'd name it Skeletor, you name it
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the evil dad or whatever.
yeah.
So, like, you could technically, like, yes, that one is the sorcerer. Don't be a pedant, but that's she's not big enough to name the movie after.
If it was called the Sorcerer, it actually might have made more sense now that I think about it,
Mhm.
because you
The,
can
e-
kind of
the,
consider the villain a sorcerer if
the evil dad's sorcerer.
yeah, the evil
'Cause
dad.
he's their dad, right?
At least he's at least, yes, he is supposed to be their dad. Well, yes, I think so. It's I wonder if Corman cut out, instead of just cutting out little bits, he cut out entire scenes that had explanations for certain things.
Right,
Um,
right.
I'm not sure.
I
Part of
thought
the
it was so funny that, like, you start out with your usual, like, oh, these chosen children, chosen one babies, elude their fate and grow up somewhere distant as, a very typical hero origin.
Mhm.
Uh, but like the villain is thwarted because like I need the fucking I need to sacrifice the oldest baby. I need to sacrifice my firstborn. And like, oh, what? There's two babies. I
Yeah.
simply don't know which one to say. And I feel like,
If I mess up, if I sacrifice the, yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
a, it's actually like I could see Jack Hill, the comedic writer, making that very funny. That
right,
that the big bad can't figure out what to do because they're twins, and if he sacrifices the wrong one first, he'll fail. That's kind of a Mel Brooks level joke, but
right,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
played for.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's really
Like,
the most disappointing thing about it is that um kind of the things that Jack Hill was known for was his wit,
right,
and
okay,
his appreciation of camp, and the fact that he wrote strong women. They were strong women who were sexually assaulted and getting revenge. Like, they were very, like, Coffee in particular is like just a revenge movie. It's not exactly progressive, a feminist view of women, but they were strong women. And the whole point of the Women in Prison movie is that you exploit the nudity and lesbian
right,
tension of it, and then you have them fucking kill everybody. That's what you do in those movies. And so he has this movie with two twin barbarians that don't have any personality and can't really fight to our what we can see. It's just disappointing. It's just there's nothing there. And it's also made really weird because this was at the last minute move to Mexico. It was going to
Mhm.
shoot in some other countries. And so the majority of the cast is Mexican. And they're
Right.
clearly speaking English, but they redubbed all of them to not have accents. And it
Oh,
led them
right.
to
Okay.
redub the entire cast. And I'm guessing Corman just was like, I don't want to have to pay the English speaking actors to come back. Well, they all spoke English. I don't want to speak. I don't want to have the American actors have to come back.
Mhm.
So he just hired people on staff at New World Pictures, not actors, secretaries
Right.
and accountants and stuff. So every line has this really detached, really
Right.
wrong for everything kind of thing to it. It's very strange. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of thing I usually actually appreciate in movies, especially watching a lot of Italian movies where the actors are often speaking English, but they're always dubbed, even if they're English speaking actors, and so they get the face wrong. All that's going to come up in the next one too. They just get the face
Yeah.
and mouth just do not mix in a lot of
Right.
these, but it makes it extra weird in this
Right.
case.
Right.
And then well, it is kind of interesting because it's this whole Mexican. You don't recognize any of these actors because not a lot of Mexican movies make it outside of Mexico. So that
Mhm.
part's kind of neat. Is
Mhm.
that I don't think anybody in this movie, other than the sisters, had any sort of bigger career at like they're not cult icons. So that's kind of fun.
Right. Right.
That's kind of fun.
Oh,
Um,
that's great.
I think this is an incredibly unsexy movie, which is really strange to me. But there's just something about every the way everything is shot that's supposed to be kind of cheesecakey that just is weirdly unsexy to me.
No, it is crazy. Like it is. This is the era of Boris Vallejo. And you
Yeah,
literally have twin playmates as your fucking barbarian heroines, and like nothing. What? It's such a weird. Like they start out their first scene is like skinny dipping together, and it doesn't really look appealing.
no, it's
It's
awkward
so
and yeah,
crazy. Like what? How did you fumble this? What is? Uh, I think of like we were talking about Beastmaster
yeah,
earlier, and like that's a PG movie that somehow has Tanya Roberts topless skinny dipping with a friend, and that's kind of sort of innocently cheesecakey, cute,
yeah.
sexy looking, and and that's a PG movie for God's sake. There's just something so tossed together about this. There's no, yeah, I mean, there's no passion to it.
I have this funny quote
Right.
where Hill claims that he had a plot with twins in mind specifically because of Alexander Dumas' The Corsican Brothers, but I don't
Hmm.
believe him at all. And it's really funny. It's really funny because I had just reviewed the 4K release of Van Damme's Double Impact and learned that those filmmakers also claimed that was based on the Corsican Brothers. So I think that if you end up being forced to make a movie with either an actor playing dual roles or twin actors, and they're not really pulling it off, make yourself seem more cultured by saying, "Oh yeah, I was basing it on Alexander Dumas book." Actually, you're the ones who are not cultured. You don't know what my the sisters are not actresses. They were in two movies. They are their names are Lee and Lynette Harris. They
Uh-huh.
had just been in a movie called I, the Jury, which it's I can't remember his name now. He plays Judge Dredd's brother in
Armand Sante.
Armando Sante movie. It's an Armando Sante movie, and
Right, right.
they don't their characters don't even have names in that. They're just twins. So this is the only like speaking role for either of them. And it's not even their voices, it's somebody else's voices coming
Right.
out of
It's
them.
for someone from New World Pictures.
Yeah, some random secretary is voicing them. I have some funny facts on them though. They were born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, only
Okay.
4 years after my dad. They were born in 54. So,
Okay.
it's a small enough area that maybe they went to the same high school. I'll ask my dad next time we talk if he knew the
The
Harris
Harris
sisters.
sisters.
There's not a lot of information, but the funny thing is, if you do a Google search for them, you actually get more information about their indictment for not paying taxes on millions of dollars in 1989 than you do on either this movie, I, the Jury, or their Playboy career.
That's
And
incredible.
but this is fascinating because it appears they were given money by a mutual sugar daddy who was a sort of he was married, and he gave them millions of dollars, and they didn't report it on taxes. And this led they were found guilty initially, but they appealed, and it actually changed law here in
Oh,
America,
oh wow.
where money that mistresses are given is considered a gift and is non-taxable.
Good on them.
Yeah, so they like changed the world for mistresses.
Now that is a worthy legacy.
Yeah, it's so weird that I mean this court case has a bigger Wikipedia page than either of the movies they made.
Sorceress.
Yeah, so that was kind of exciting.
Oh, that's baller, actually.
Yeah,
Good on them.
yeah, they're still around apparently. They just are probably just living. They probably invested well or something.
Mhm.
I couldn't even
Oh,
find their spread. I'll admit, I looked for it. I was like, oh, if they were either Playboy's really good at um, taking that stuff down for copyright reasons, or it
right.
just wasn't that important of one, and people just don't share it.
Mhm.
I was kind of surprised.
I
Well, how,
remember there like hobbyist pages that have like galleries of like every month since,
yeah,
but I guess yeah, I guess
maybe,
Google wouldn't promote them because I you know
yeah, yeah. I needed to know
it's
where to look,
copyright.
maybe. How do you feel about Roberto Nelson playing a character named Elric, which is seemingly a reference to the Michael Moorcock character?
Oh
Which is a
shit.
character I've seen you fan cast before on social media. So I was like, oh, Elric. Okay, well, there's your Elric. This might be our only movie Elric, for all I know.
Yeah, because is he called Elric? Really? I forgot.
They spell it differently, but it is Elric.
Oh, Ehrlich. He's called
Yeah,
Ehrlich.
that's right. They switch them. They say Elric, so I'm wondering if they had to change it.
Because
Like Moorcock figured it out.
the because actually I remember now looking up his name. He when I heard that name in the movie, I was like, oh, I wonder if that is a reference to Red Sonja's Ehrlich, because Ehrlich
Oh,
is like a deity, like the Conan always says, "Oh, by Crom," and
yeah,
Red Sonja would go, "Ooh, by Ehrlich's beard" or something. He would. So I was like,
it
"Oh,
could have
wonder
been
if
that
that's a."
instead.
But he does not look like Elric. Let me tell you.
I know just
He
enough about the character to know what that character looks like, and it was very funny to me.
no like Elric, for those not in the know, is the albino emperor of Melnibone, the 428th emperor of Melnibone. He is a sickly albino who must take his meds to live, and
Yeah,
therefore being kind of the inversion of like hale and hearty Conan.
right,
He was a character conceived in the 60s in the second wave of sword and sorcery. So basically, if you kind of compare it to comic books, Conan would have been like a golden age, Superman, Batman type character, and Elric is a character created by someone who grew up with
right.
Conan or Superman, Batman. Um, and so there's a little bit of that Peter Parker's like puny Peter Parker, relatable guy. Elric is not a superhuman. He is in fact sickly. He needs drugs to live. He needs he's more of a brainy nerd. He wants people to stop fighting. He's not a um, he's not a Conan.
He's not a
And
barbarian, really.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's from the weak and decadent courts of Melnibone. He's quite the opposite. So yeah, yeah, possibly because this guy is very much a sort of we talked about Clash of the Titans earlier. Um, I feel like he is very much in the Harry Hamlin school of
yes,
sort
yes.
of handsome, coiffed guys.
Handsome and athletic, not a bodybuilder, but yeah,
Right, yeah.
handsome, athletic. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
And there's that fucking is he a dwarf? Is he one of those famous cinematic dwarfs that are just human height? The Viking guy, his friend. I think he's
Yeah,
just a Viking guy. It's probably not a dwarf.
he's actually called oh shit, what's Thor's brother is
Loki?
not Loki, the other one.
Tyr. No.
Oh yeah, that
Balder.
is Balder. I think he's actually called
Yeah,
Balder.
Balder. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's very Viking-esque.
Yeah. But like
Doesn't
comedy
have
Viking. He's got a big mustache.
yeah,
He's like one of the parents in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, much easier to dub because of that mustache. His lip sync is
Yeah,
not.
true, true, true.
For all I know, that actor was just speaking Spanish on set because nobody could tell. Seems like a nice
He
guy.
was the only one who was actually speaking Spanish. I was it's kind of a bummer that like you've got these two playmates and you don't have to be fucking great actors. Arnold
No,
wasn't a great actor when he did
no.
Conan. Milius was very aware of that. You can work around that. You can like, hey, okay, girls, let's do some fun stunts together. Let's give you some funny jokes. You know that fucking dumbass Barbarian brothers. What are those guys called?
Oh yeah, they're gonna come up in the next one. Yeah,
Right. Peter Paul or something, and
something
Don
like
Paul.
that. Yeah,
Uh, uh,
bodybuilder twins. Yes.
right. They weren't great actors too, but give them jokes, let them goof. I'm sure
Yeah,
the Lee and Lynette could have done something like that, but the movie is like working hard at like not giving them things to do. Uh, like they're paired up with fucking Timu Harry Hamlin and comedy
yeah,
Viking Man.
yeah.
So that they have dudes taking care of them, kind of. You know what? I, After when this movie was over, I was like, if these dudes were actually the leads, like Roberto Nelson and Viking Man, if these
Yeah.
dudes were actually the leads, I would have been like, hey, you know what? It's kind of cute that the love interests got as much to do as they did in this type of
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
But here's the thing, they weren't the leads. These fucking girls were the leads. So I'm like, eh. I mean, still for this type of movie, nice that that the playmates what show their boobs, and let's face it, that's their function. They're here to show their boobs. That they got as much to do as they did, but they should have gotten a lot more because they were the fucking lead.
I was gonna say this later, but yeah, that Barbarian movie, the Barbarians with the Barbarian twins, that was directed by Ruggero Deodato, the
Oh,
director of Cannibal
seriously?
Holocaust, who
Oh
is a
wow.
very talented filmmaker in certain ways, but you have a huge language barrier
Hmm.
there, and he still managed to let them be funnier than Jack Hill, whose
Right.
whole thing is being funny and
Right.
clever. Yeah,
And
it's true.
Corman, what did you do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is part of me that would want to sit through the 2+ hour version just to
Hmm.
see if there was anything there, and just to hear the Mexican accents. I think that would actually give this
Yeah.
something. I think it would be kind of nice. But the reason that this movie always sticks with me is the very silly climax where they have this ritual, and it's to release the evil god, and the good god is released at the same time, but it's not very clear as to why the good god is released at the same time. They say a secret word that they could have said the whole time. He's like a very Deus Ex Machina moment. And the good god is this big winged, I looked this up, it's a Umarl, I'm gonna say this wrong, Umarlulu, which is a half
Umar
lion,
Lou? What? Okay.
half lion, half centaur, is called a Umarlulu, apparently.
Okay.
Urmahlulluu. Umarlulu. Anyway, he's a half lion, half centaur thing. And the other one is just a giant woman's head with a half lizard face that
Hmm.
shoots lasers.
Oh,
And
that's a
it's
sorceress. That's her sorceress thing that she does.
and it has like lightsaber sound effects.
Yeah.
And they hang up in the sky just long enough to notice each other, at which point they start laser battle. It's sort of like two Muppets having a Dragon Ball fight.
Right, right. Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
And it's one of those things that I live for in B movies, where like those suddenly, after all this boring, tedious stuff, there'll be some weird thing that somebody thought was going to kick ass and doesn't, but then kind of does kick ass, because you're like, what were they doing? Why does she have a half lizard face? I
Right.
don't understand. And the funniest part is in the interviews with Hill. He was brought on at kind of at a semi, not even retirement, but like sort of a semi retirement. He wasn't really directing anymore because he was promised by Corman, hey, we have this new special effects studio and we're going to be able to compete with the big boys. And so
Hmm.
that was part of the
Hmm.
reason he made this movie, is to work with the special effects. And then on top of everything else, David Lynch's Dune ended up taking over the studio in Mexico.
Oh
So
shit.
they couldn't even continue shooting. And then Hill had this weird claim that the studio exploded when nitrate film caught fire and that some people died and the Mexican government covered it up. I don't know if that part's true. That
Uh-huh.
sounds sort of like something an old man would say in his 90s when he's being interviewed about a movie he made once. But the fact that David Lynch's Dune came in and fucked it up for everybody with its bloated budget, and that ended up being a huge flop, and it's just very funny to me that this all happened. But unfortunately for this movie, that climax is in the trailer. So if you want to just see the part I'm talking about, you can just watch the Sorceress's trailer. It's a really fun trailer. But yeah, you were talking about you're calling the guy Jar Jar, and I came to the end of this movie. I'm like, I think that part of me tolerating movies like this is part of why I'm not as annoyed by Jar Jar as some people are. I think I'm just like Jar Jar doesn't seem that bad when you watch enough things like this.
No, true, true. I mean, I don't hate Jar Jar all that much either.
I love him on the cartoon. I don't know if you ever watched Clone Wars, but they figured out how to use him on that. He was great. I
Yeah,
loved him.
he has that undercover storyline with the Contessa. Uh,
Yep, and he has this great episode where he goes with Mace Windu, and
mhm.
Mace Windu figures out over the series of 2 episodes why people like Jar Jar, but so much of the first episode is every time Jar Jar speaks, Mace Windu is just rolling his eyes because he's like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck?"
right.
My favorite actors in the whole movie are all the little Mexican kid extras that are looking directly into the camera and posing themselves next to the main cast. They're just like they might as well be getting like the duck lips and peace signs. And I'm gonna try. I was trying to find nice things. I think that some of the production design it looks cheap, but in a kind of fun way. Like there's a bustling market. It only has 8 stalls, but we built a market.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
This is what you expect from a budget version of Conan. You know,
Yeah,
we
I
kind
mean,
of
I think the design of the Irma Lulu is cool.
yeah.
Like it's not very not a lot of motion in that puppet, but
There's
and
there's some
and I,
undead warriors. They're
oh
kind of
yeah, that's
cool,
kind of cool. Yeah,
kind of like the Knights Templar from the Blind Dead movies. Yeah, the action's bad. I tried to find something. They all the funniest thing about the action is if you watch enough early kung fu movies, you get an eye for when they've overcranked to make slow footage look faster,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
they're overcranking to make it look faster, and it's still really glacial.
Right,
So they
right,
must have been going so
right.
slow on set. um, and then the soundtrack's good, but that's because it was by James Horner and written for
That
Battle
was a
Beyond the
Battle Beyond the
Stars.
Stars.
Yes. And
The
Corman
most
reused
used
that
Corman
constant.
score of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But this did well enough that Corman had a sort of little run of these. The Deathstalker films are the most famous. I think Deathstalker 2 is actually pretty funny. The Warrior and the Sorceress, which is sort of an adaptation of Yojimbo, starring a very, very drunk David Carradine.
Oh shit.
Um, uh, there's a 85. There's a children's movie called Wizards of the Lost Kingdom, and then there was a 1985 movie called The Barbarian Queen. I haven't seen those last two.
Right.
Um, and the one definitive good thing about a lot of these movies is that they have cool poster art. Some
Yeah.
of some of them by Boris Vallejo. This one is by Joanne Daly, who
Mhm.
did the Scanners and Creepshow posters. Really great classic posters. And there's one by an artist named Robert Tenenbaum that I really thought was Simon Beasley,
Hmm.
but apparently Robert Tenenbaum did a bunch of Kiss covers.
Oh, right, right.
So cool stuff. Jack Hill's still alive. He's 93 as of
Oh
this
wow.
recording. Yeah.
I guess he got the last laugh over Corman.
Yeah, over Corman. Well, Corman almost made it to 100. I think Corman was 99.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll
indeed.
see. We'll see. Hill's got a little time. And, but so yeah, so that's all I got on Sorceress. Do you have anything else to add for that one before we move on?
I thought the sorceress lady was pretty hot.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
like she was like she got the assignment. I feel
I think
maybe
the villain did too. I think
yeah
he
he
had a
did
look
yeah
about him. Yeah,
uh-huh. Yeah, I think
not
that's
not that he
part
was
of what you
hot,
said
but
with like the fun fun Mexican actors
yeah,
throwing themselves into it. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. We hadn't really said that about the villains. So like yeah, they got the assignment. So
yeah, yeah.
uh
He
so I
looked
guess
pretty
our
good with a
final
thick-skinned
verdict
accent.
was that it's a what a shame because it's a cool concept having twin
Yeah,
playmate warriors. Well,
Maybe they should have remade this one instead of Deathstalker, because people actually
yeah,
like
exactly.
Deathstalker. Maybe they should
Yeah,
have remade the
indeed.
bad one.
That's always a thing that you know, people say that. Like, why do you remake good movies? You should remake movies that didn't hit the mark the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah. A movie that has a good idea but sucks. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's move on to the Italians. On from
Yeah.
Corman to the Italians. We got Conquest from 1983. This is described by Letterboxd as to mark his passage into manhood. Young Ilias is gifted a magical bow by his father and embarks upon a journey into the wilderness to rid the land of evil, all while battling the witch Okron, who wishes to steal the bow for her own nefarious ends. Again, you'd be forgiven for watching this entire movie and not getting any of that information from what happens. The Italians have a very long tradition of peplum or sword and sandal movies.
Right. Hmm.
This goes back to the silent era. The big peplum famine happened in the 50s and early 60s. It's generally considered the first of many post World War II fads that led to stuff like spaghetti westerns and
Right.
giallo and Bellicio Tesci movies. Peplum movies, some of them are fantasy movies because they'll add they're all Greek and Roman type
Hmm.
stories, but they'll add stuff like cyclopses and
Right. Right.
stuff like that. The Italian fantasy fad like this followed Conan, like just like the Corman one did, which was apparently super duper popular. And it ran alongside a different fad of post-apocalyptic movies inspired by Mad Max 2 and Escape from New York.
Hmm.
And those movies were more popular and they have a longer sort of tradition, but these all existed kind of at the same time and they kind of bled into each other in the more interesting cases. And I just wrote down a couple of the Barbarian ones here. There were 4 Attore the Invincible movies, all directed by Joe D'Amato. I cannot remember Joe's real name off the top of my head. He has a very, hard to pronounce Italian name. Joe D'Amato was a cinematographer, really good cinematographer, made a lot of really trashy, gory horror movies, and basically retired into pornography and was a very respected hardcore pornographer. But in
Right.
the 80s, he made a tour of the Invincible films.
Uh-huh.
The fourth one was released as Quest of
Oh,
the Mighty Sword.
he did fucking Black Emmanuel.
Yes, he did. He did
Okay.
several of those actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of his because those weren't hardcore, but that was kind of his thing. Yeah, he did the movie Beyond the Darkness, Buyo Omega, which is one of my all-time favorite gore movies. It's just such an uncomfortable, gross movie about
Mm,
a man whose fiance dies and he tries to bring her back. Like he embalms her and leaves her in his house and starts
mm.
murdering people who discover her. Very gross movie. Just
Okay.
icky fucking movie, but the best kind of icky movie. That's my favorite
Okay.
kind of. Then they did a reboot of Hercules, directed by Luigi Cosi, who these days he's basically Dario Argento's friend that runs the store in Milan.
Right.
So if you live, is it Milan or Rome? I think it's in Milan. If you go there to the store, very high chance of meeting Luigi Cosi. And this starred Lou Ferrigno, and
Mhm.
it got a major release. It was considered one of the best bad movies ever, but you can see the effort on display in that one. Then there was Thor the Conqueror, which has nothing to do with the Norse god or the Marvel comic character. Then there's the Barbarians, which we just talked about, which was actually a co-production with Canon Films, who we're going to talk about later. And like I said, directed by Ruggero Deodato. Yeah, I have here Peter and David Paul were their names.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
so between them, they had 3 apostles.
Yeah.
um, and I almost picked that movie because it's very funny. But then I was like, oh my God, we'll have 2 movies about dumb twins with 0 acting ability. And then I'd have to find a third one because it would then whatever movie we covered after that would seem out of place because it didn't have stupid twins. So
Right, right.
that was why I decided not to do that eventually.
Okay, okay,
So
yeah.
I went with the Conquest, which is directed by Lucio Fulci, another person that I cover all the time. He's one of my all-time favorite filmmakers, and he's maybe the top of the list of filmmakers I'll go to bat for. And I'm
Mhm.
such a fan. I'm such a fan that I probably can't be trusted to speak on his movies in an objective manner. But all that said, I used to really hate this film.
Oh, wait. Okay. Why
I've
did you
grown
hate
to
it,
like
and
it.
why did you grow to like? Yeah, exactly. What? Give
It's
give us
so
the evolution here.
so one okay. So part of the issue here
Hmm.
is that it is impossible to tell what's happening in this film. Fulci had been doing this very it was a thing he liked to do in the 80s, was this like soft focus, super diffused thing, and he took it to a major extreme. Part of the interview with him, he says he did it because the budget was so low he thought it would cover it and give it an ethereal look. It basically looks like he filmed through a cheesecloth or some
Right.
Vaseline. And on the bootleg VHS I watched back in the day, it looked like nothing. I couldn't tell what was happening. So finally it came out on DVD, and I'm like, okay, I see there's something here. But I was still at that point discovering Lucio Fulci movies, and there is
Right.
a huge quality drop. At this point in his career, Fulci was just coming off his high point. Like he in the 60s and late 50s and 60s, early 70s, he made very popular, stupid comedies that I have not brought myself to watch because most Italian comedies I find really awful. Just like finger in my eye level annoying movies. So I've never watched them, but he had a name for himself, and then
Right.
he changed up. He made some spaghetti westerns. He made some giallo movies. He started to find his style. He started to realize he liked gore. He made a supposed ripoff of Dawn of the Dead called Zombie that was a huge hit. And so then
Right.
he's like, gore is my thing. So he made a series of very gothic, very evocative, very verging on avant-garde, but also really trashy um, zombie movies, basically. And so
Mhm.
this is like him at his ideal, where he's like, oh, I'm actually a very like, you go through a phase, these phases as a Fulci fan. When you're young, you're like, hell yeah, violence. And then you get a little older, you're like, well, it's a little silly, but I still enjoy it. And then you get a little older, you're like, maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was. Then you get a little older, and you're like, no, this is a very talented filmmaker who also likes trash,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
you come to respect it, you know. And
Okay.
so going from that to something as impenetrable as Conquest was hard the first time I did it, but then I got
Right.
to see how much worse his movies got after Conquest, and I started to appreciate that it's different. It's something different. He made this just after. I thought that we had covered it when you and I covered Dangerous Game Show movies.
Mhm.
I remembered us covering Fulci's film, but I looked back and we actually didn't. It was called The Warriors in the year 2073, and there was, for years, Fulci accused The Running Man of ripping him off because
Mm.
I don't think he knew that there was a Stephen King book. They are very
Right.
similar movies.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but those are both, that and Conquest are made at the same time. So he has this very, Running Man meets Mad Max movie and a fantasy
Mhm.
movie, and those are the
Right.
only two he ever made. He never made another fantasy movie. He never made another sci-fi movie.
Okay. Right. Oh.
And so then you start to appreciate he was trying something different, in part because the industry was collapsing and the video market was getting better, so that producers were like, well, I don't have to put any money into this production because I don't even need to make prints. I don't even need to print up things for theaters. I just need to send it off to the video people, and it can look like shit because the resolution's so low. So, like, he's doing something here is basically what I come around to.
Mhm.
uh, and I'm gonna most of the information I should say I get about this movie is from Stephen Thrower's Beyond Terror, the films of Lucio Fulci.
Mhm.
Um, that said, the chapter on this is really fucking short. There's a new release coming out soon. I'm assuming maybe has special features, but not soon enough for us to cover this. So there really isn't a lot of information. I just have some brief interview clips with Fulci to go off of here. And Fulci was kind of famous for centering himself at every narrative. So, like,
Right.
if a movie didn't go well, it was all somebody else's fault and they were the worst person ever. Or if he didn't like a movie, it was the worst thing he ever made. That kind of stuff. He didn't really like deal in gray areas, like, oh, we tried to do this and it didn't work out. It's either it worked out and you're an asshole for not agreeing with me, or
Mhm.
it was the worst thing ever and we should burn all copies of it, is kind of the way he is with his work. But the one thing in Stephen Thrower's book that I like is his review, which starts with, and this is his quote: "If films have a personality, someone slipped this one a Mickey, Finn. Admittedly, half the fun of sleeping pills is fighting the effects and staying awake to experience the weird pharmaceutical slurring. But few would want to feel that way whilst trying to crawl through a Conan the Barbarian ripoff. Here, Lucio Fulci begs to differ," which is, yeah, this is like watching Quaaludes, kind of. this movie. The one thing I did learn from the book is that this might have not been directly a Conan the Barbarian ripoff, as a two-prong ripoff of Conan the Barbarian and Jean-Jacques Anard's caveman movie Quest for Fire, which came out in
Right.
81 and itself was apparently a huge hit in Italy. And technically, Ruggero Deodato's The Iron Master was a ripoff of that, not Conan. And when
Hmm.
Iron Master became a hit, then everybody started ripping off Iron Master, which is something that happens with these, like when um you know, Fistful of Dollars is basically a ripoff of Yojimbo. Yojimbo was a hit, but Fistful of Dollars was a bigger hit, so everybody tries to make Fistful of Dollars again.
Right, right, right.
Cannibal movies were a ripoff of A Man Called Horse, but the Cannibal movie was the popular one, so you copy that, not A Man Called Horse. And so
Right. Uh-huh.
that's where you end up here. So that makes it make a little more sense to me too. It is definitely a fantasy movie. There's more monsters in this movie and magic than any of the other movies we talked about. But I get that it's also kind of a caveman movie.
Right, yeah.
That kind of made sense to me. These are sort of like you said about Conan as a prehistoric story, which
Hmm.
is something I didn't get for many years. I like it's to me fantasy isn't completely fantasy's He-Man. It's a completely different universe from ours. It's not our past. So that's like that's another thing that made me a little more appreciative. Oh, they're making a caveman.
Did you know that, He-Man is technically our universe too?
Yes.
Because his mother's an astronaut. That
Right. Right. It's a different universe, though. You have to at least go somewhere to get to.
Sure,
Was it
sure.
Etheria?
It's
I
a
can't
different
remember what it's.
planet. It's our universe.
Yeah, yeah. Different planet.
It's
Whereas the
actually
idea,
crazy, like how much of like the famous fantasy series are just technically our prehistory.
yeah,
Conan's deal is that, the civilization is cyclical, and Conan just lives in a very ancient civilization that was destroyed, before the rise of the sons of Arius, as Mako says in the prologue. Lord of the Rings is meant. Did you know Lord of the Rings is meant to be our prehistory?
you know what?
Like,
I don't think I realized that. I don't think I knew that. If I did, I forgot that.
basically, Tolkien wanted there to be like an English mythology, because like the closest thing there was Arthur, the Arthurian mythology,
Right.
but that's very Norman, very French infused. Or you have like the Mabinogion, which is very Welsh. But so he wanted to come at this like, what, okay, but like, what if I tried to make an English mythology? And
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings is supposed to be that. Uh,
That makes sense. Yeah, if I knew that, I had forgotten it because that sounds like news to me. Did you ever read? I'm thinking the only person alive who liked this when they brought Conan into the mainstream Marvel universe several years ago, like maybe 10 years ago.
I don't think I've read. I've actually. I'm not sure if I've. No, I've not read any non-Dark Horse Conan.
So they brought him into the official Marvel universe, and it
Right.
had to then make it that Conan's history was also the Marvel universe's history.
Okay.
And
So
I think a
the
lot of people hated that, but I
right,
kind of
right.
liked it. I kind of thought it was neat that Conan
Okay.
comes into the far flung future, and it's like, oh, this is the future now. It's like not,
Spider-Man.
yeah. And I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I understand why everybody hated it, but he like, for instance, he got along with the Punisher,
Mhm.
and they like the Punisher, like they're in the Savage Land, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And so Conan's kind of like, oh, this is like kind of like my world. And they're like, no, 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 this is the Savage Land. It's weird. We have to leave. Do you want to fly out with us? And the Punisher has, I can't remember, somebody dies and the Punisher wants to take the body out and he doesn't want to use Iron Man's shit. And so he walks across Antarctica and Conan goes, I think I'm going to go with this Punisher guy. He's got, there's something about him I respect. And Punisher keeps saying, damn it. And so Conan says, do you worship damn it? And he says, no, no, it's a curse. Oh, so it's like saying by Crom. So the idea that Conan
Yeah.
thinks of a worship and a curse as the same thing, I thought was very
Right,
funny.
right.
It was cute.
Yeah, okay.
And he doesn't really, oh, there's a whole bit where Spider-Man's telling him he can't fight, blah blah blah. And he's like, Spider-Man, you are you are defending the land of kings. Like, what do you think you're fighting for? Like, it's this whole weird, like, Marxist thing
Right.
that Conan just whips out at Spider-Man, and Parker doesn't even know how to take it. He's like, "What? No, nuh-uh." I thought it was sort of interesting stuff. Again, get why people hated it. I kind of liked it. I'm kind of sad it ended so quickly, but anyway, sorry,
No,
sorry, sorry.
that's fine. Always happy to hear from Conan incarnations I was not familiar with. I think I've read I think that panel has gone viral. I think I've seen
Has
him
it?
like sort
Okay.
of I think I've seen Conan give Spider-Man shit for like, oh, you defend the nobility or whatever. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, that was when once you started in on that, I was like, no, that sounds familiar, and I definitely haven't read the book itself, so that panel must have gone viral. No, regarding Conquest, I was like, yeah, this is like a whole lot of kind of like impressionist bullshit.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, also meant, also born out of a low budget and producers telling Fulci to be like, yo, could you do a fantasy one? Could you do a prehistoric one? For one for them, as it were, and also learning that he always puts some shit of himself in there, and if he's not able to do that, then who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Um, but while I was watching this, I was like, this is all, I kind of ha had that background, knowing that he's a horror guy, but fantasy was just something that was a fad at that time. Tried his hand at it once and never again. So I was like, yeah, okay, he cares about the texture of things. He cares
Hmm.
about the sensations, the lady getting bone tomahawked into,
Hmm.
the weird masks, and like the witch having like the fucking Doctor Doom mask and riding
Yeah,
the
she's got
snake.
Destro from
Yeah,
G.I. Joe.
GI
She's
Joe.
totally nude except for the Destro mask. Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's just about weird enough that the type of person who would dig up this movie would kind of like it because of like, oh, there's constantly weird stuff happening. Yeah, okay, sure, there is weird stuff happening, but it is like that critic said, it definitely feels like you're on Quaaludes, like to the point where it is a more personal movie than something as completely mercenary as Sorceress. Like I'll respect it a little bit more, but I'm not saying that I strictly enjoyed it more because of that. And by the time we fucking enter our climax, and Ilias, the son of the gods sent to Earth to rid of evil, is killed,
Yeah,
and our hero Mace, and,
yeah,
not Bad Boy related, but the our hero Mace then covers his forehead in his ashes in a cross shape.
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, oh, fucking K. Like everyone, like everything I'd read about this movie, oh, it's so impenetrable. It's so, it seems beamed in from a different dimension. Then you get to the climax and it's, oh, it's just a fucking Jesus analogy.
Yeah,
Come
well,
on.
but you know what's funny about you saying that is that
Mm.
I feel like Sorceress is kind of a Moses analogy with this
Oh,
with
because
the
the twins get,
yeah,
yeah.
they're both coming from Christian mythology.
Yeah, totally. Oh God. Then what the hell is Gore gonna go
Oh, we'll have
through?
to think about that. We'll
I
have
was
to
like,
think about it. Yeah, I
oh,
mean,
he
Fulci.
must be Job because he's tormented by Arnold Vosloo.
There you go.
He learns to stand up for himself.
There you go. He's Job. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Back to Conquest.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, but Fulci likes esoteria. He was a really big Lovecraft fan. So there is some of him definitely in this movie, and the weird stuff. Some of it doesn't connect because he didn't care. I don't think he's like, hey,
Mhm.
let's have a scene where some spider creatures that look like slee stacks from
Yeah,
Land of the Lost. Let's just
yeah.
have, or they're like mummies wrapped in web, basically with slee stack faces. Let's just do that. Let's just have this be a thing, and this is another, you know, part of the hero's journey. And I think for that reason the movie gets better as it goes along. I think when it has its beginnings are like trying too hard to be sort of mindful and
Huh?
sort of there's a certain thing about Fulci was too old to be a hippie, and he was too critical of that kind of stuff. But he has a lot of LSD imagery in his movies, which I don't think
Hmm.
he ever took LSD. Maybe
Okay.
he did, but I think that it was just sort of like he was interested in that as like being stuck in a dream state. He was a very depressed man. He had his wife. I think his wife had already died at this point. He was very sick. He had
Oh.
one of his daughters was fell off a horse and got her back broken and was confined to a wheelchair. He had a really rough life, but he was an intellectual. He was way smarter than a lot of these Italian filmmakers. Like Dario Argento was a nepo baby, you know. Um,
Hmm.
so like he's easy to like and hate at the same time. So he's an interesting character, and I feel like he, as soon as he throws out all that hippy dippy shit at the beginning of the movie, it gets more interesting when it just becomes mostly Mace. I think in some countries this was called Mace. It was just named after that character because he's really becomes the lead.
Right.
Um, but I think a lot of those scenes where Mace is having to do, like, he goes to basically the dead marshes.
Hmm.
And there's this one really cool image that I think someone should reuse, where it looks to me like instead of dead marshes, there are zombies under the water, but there's also like armor, and the trees have grown into the armor, and the skeletons in the armor are like in the trees. It's such a hard, it's so hard to tell what's going on in this movie. I might have just imagined that, in which case someone should definitely use that in something else in the future. But there are these sort of like hero's journey things where like, and now he has to, not hero's journey, what's Hercules does, the trials of Hercules kind of thing, where you have to do this and this and this and this to achieve whatever you're doing. And that point of the movie I like when it's just Mace doing shit in weird places with different monsters and different zombies. I'm sure there's zombies in this movie because the producers went, "Hey, Lucio, you got to put zombies in this movie. It's in your contract. You absolutely have to put some zombies in here." So, and I like those water zombies. They're pretty cool. But at the same time, if this would have been Fulci, like there's a part of me that thinks there's an alternate universe where Fulci got his whole crew from those gothic horror movies, and he made this with them. So he was not working like he was not working with screenwriter
Hmm.
Dardano Sacchetti. He was not working with composer Fabio Frizzi. He was not working with cinematographer Sergio Salvetti, and he was not working with effects artist Giannato De Rossi. Those were all people, and I can't remember the name of the production designer, but there's all these people who were with him with all these other movies. And I think that in another world, you get all those guys, because if you take the movie City Living Dead or The Beyond and you take out any one of those elements,
Hmm.
it has the possibility of being this weird and silly.
Right.
But when you have all those elements in place, it's something special. And I think that there's another world where this movie was the fantasy version of those kind of gothic horror movies.
Right. Right. Right.
And a funny side note is that I just found this out. Gianetto De Rossi wasn't available because he was poached by De Laurentiis for David Lynch's Dune.
Oh shit.
And because of that, he actually did special effects for Conan the Destroyer in
Uh-huh.
'84, and then he was the special effects guy on the failed Kevin Sorbo Called the Conqueror movie in
Oh,
the
the
'90s.
concrete.
So, but it's just funny that Dune messed up another movie. It's not two of the three movies we're covering today. So yeah, this is a borderline inscrutable movie that is so inscrutable that I understand why people are putting meaning behind it. You know, but
Yeah, totally.
it's not really. I don't think it's really there because I don't think Fulci cared enough.
Right.
Um, because he'll say, I mean, he'll say stuff like in City of the Living Dead. There's a scene. Have you ever seen that movie, Luana?
And the only other Fulci I've seen is Zombie Flesh Eaters.
Okay.
But even that's like 20 years ago, so I don't remember much besides a zombie fighting a shark, I think.
Yeah, that happens towards the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
In the movie City of the Living Dead, there's a character who is sort of he's sort of coded as mentally disabled. He's not really, you don't know what he is, but he's sort of like the misfit of the town, and he's being
Mhm.
blamed for all these murders, even though the murders are these impossible things like people vomiting up their intestinal tract. Like I don't know how you murder someone that way. But there's a scene where he's hiding in someone's garage and hiding with a daughter, and that one of the main characters comes and he sees his daughter with Bob the freak, and he's like, oh my god, it's Bob the freak, and he grabs Bob the freak, and accidentally turns on a power drill and slams Bob's head in slow motion into the power drill. It's really spectacular special effect. Fulci, with a straight face, says that was actually my attempt to defy a certain type of fascism, and he meant it seriously. And you can really look back and say, okay, what he's trying to say, that we're judging these people that aren't doing anything and we're murdering. Like, I get it. I see where he got to fascism from there. But when you interview Fulci about this movie, it's just like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool to like make it all foggy. You know,
Right,
he
right,
wasn't in it the same way he was in some of these other
right.
movies.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's okay not to like this movie. I think it's okay to like this movie. Either way, yeah, you don't have to pretend that Fulci was really putting his heart and soul onto this one. Like I said, I can't be trusted to look at these in an objective manner, and I think that I actually can in this case.
Right, right,
I would
right.
not. I don't do psychedelics because I don't like hallucinations. But
Mhm.
man, I think this would be a terrible movie to trip to. It's like it has a
Yeah,
sort of dull headache-ness to it.
I see a lot of people that are like, "Oh yeah, man, this movie would be great to trip balls to," and it'll be like these completely, off the wall, mind fuck type of movies. But those seem like the types of movies that I would not want to trip balls to because they're already so, so discombobulating, so
Yeah,
alienating. I would want to trip balls to stuff like Step Brothers or Anchorman, like.
yeah. It's just something that makes you giggle. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, yeah. No, I'm there with you. Haven't It's been a decade since I've taken psychedelics, but I wouldn't have done it to a movie like this. No.
But as a Fulci movie, this is gore. There is gore in this. You mentioned the showstopper is at the beginning. They clobber dude in the head and they expose his brain. They reuse that effect several times. Basically, the monsters in this movie just love clobbering people and exposing their brains. Um, but they grab a woman and pull her apart like a wishbone.
Right.
And then they behead her and eat her brains. Like it's one of those effects that's not convincing but gross. You know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
um, and it's funny because Fulci really clearly didn't think he got that right because he did it again in 1990. He made a cursed nun movie called Demonia, where he rips a man in half this time.
Okay.
Uh, and it's a little more elaborate, but I think the effect actually works better in Conquest because we only really see the stomach. We don't see the whole body. You know, you can't really pull off the whole body without a lot of
Right.
money. I would accuse them of fridging in this movie. Like I could see a feminist media type watching this movie and go, "Oh my god, they just fridged those poor women that were the love interests." But at the same time, I think the love interests are the two men. I I think the women are just sort of something they do for fun on the side. I never got any sort of indication that this was a love interest. I'm not saying
You
it's
could.
not misogynistic. I'm just saying I don't think it's that kind of misogyny. I think it's a sort of women don't exist as things misogyny
Yeah,
level misogyny.
exactly. It's actually the same type of stuff that was going on in Sorceress, where
Yeah.
you like we referenced the off-screen rape that was kind of a punchline at the end,
Mhm.
but there's actually another one like a little more dramatic at the start of Sorceress where like the foster family gets killed by the evil wizard or king's men,
Mhm.
and that they take time to establish that they also rape mostly off screen the foster sister,
Yeah.
uh, and it's like, oh, okay, like this happens while the twins were out skinny dipping, and
Yeah.
they come back and like the there's a fight and they get away, and they don't really think about their their parents slash sister anymore. They don't reference it anymore. We have no idea what their relationship was, and exactly it's more in that. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess the dad was there too, but like 2 out of 3 were women here.
Mhm.
And it's the sister that got raped,
Mhm.
so it's definitely more like, well, yeah, we have these women here, what do you do with them? Rape them and kill them, I suppose. you know and yeah, yeah, no, Conquest has that too. There's a sort of romance that kind of happens with the Jesus and the and
The
that
caveman
girl,
woman.
but yeah. But like,
Caveman
yeah,
woman.
she's on
I
screen for
didn't
like
say that
3 minutes,
ironically. I
man.
just said caveman woman. I just sorry.
3 minutes of
Yeah.
screen time, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think that this is something that if you watch, like me, a lot of Italian exploitation movies, just not being hateful towards women feels like a win sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
Like we're
there
not taking extra time to degrade
right,
and
and we're not like the worst thing that happens like especially those cop movies is that the cops beat up women who deserve it. There's like
right.
implication of the scene. It's not even like Fulci was famous for murdering women. In fact, just before this, he made the New York Ripper, which is probably the most. I would say that and Cannibal Holocaust are the two most irredeemable movies I own copies of. That like I can't back myself up. But he was more about just watching people be broken down. Like he really liked the idea of people melting and deteriorating and being ripped apart and eaten and stuff. And so he made them women because he could also show breasts at the same time. um,
Right.
but I never got I the killer in New York Ripper is definitely a misogynist. There's no question there. But I never got the impression that Fulci as a man was any more misogynistic than the average 50,
Right, right.
60-year-old Italian dude in this in 80s Italy, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's that going on, and there's something about the pseudo romance between the male leads that I kind of wish they would have, like if it was made in a different era, they could have just gone that way,
Yeah.
instead of making it sort of like a bro code mutual respect thing. It'll be like that they actually do, because then why else would Mace agree to help this guy? He's not. Mace is a more Conan coded character, and this he's sort of neutral in everything.
Yeah, and he's very much like, I'm bitter and cynical. I lost my family, and there's no good in this world, kid.
Yeah,
You'll learn when you get to my age or whatever. So why does he stick around? No,
it's
maybe
because he
he's
loves him. It's the only reason I can find is that he loves him, and he puts his lover's ashes on his forehead and across at the at the end
he is a
towards the
bride of
final.
Christ.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's also a part where the or Ilias gets hit by poisoned arrows, and he gets all these pustules all over his body. And I noticed in this viewing that Fulci gives the pustules more loving close-ups than he does the naked breasts of the main villain. He really likes those special effects. He thinks they're super neat. And there's also yeah, as I sort of alluded to, there are Wookiees in this movie. The
Yeah, werewolf Wookiees.
they're supposed to be werewolves, but they kind of, yeah, they look like Wookiees. They're cheap, but they're more convincing than the ape men in Sorceress for sure.
Yeah, totes, totes.
And then oh, the guy who plays Mace is Jorge Rivero,
Mhm,
who's another Mexican. Again, speaking English on set, being dubbed, so we don't know what his voice actually sounds like. But he was a very popular bodybuilder, so this movie was a hit in
oh,
Mexico.
wow.
It may
Uh-huh.
have actually helped it turn a profit because it was such because he was like not just a bodybuilder, but like a sort of like sex symbol.
Mhm.
Um, and actually, I've
Okay.
seen pictures without the dumb wig. He's a pretty handsome guy. They did him dirty with that wig. Um,
Okay.
and he uses a bone nunchuck, which is the stupidest weapon. That doesn't make any sense. It's these two big, very plastic looking bones in a nunchuck. And then the Okron, the nude witch, she's played by Sabrina Ciani,
Mhm,
who kind of found her niche during the 80s. She appeared in a bunch of cannibal and post-apocalyptic movies, and then
mhm,
she was also in other barbarian movies, including The Invincible Barbarian and The Throne of Fire, Tor the Invincible, the first one, and
mhm.
Sword of the Barbarians. So, there's actually there's a thing where Fulci mentions that the producer wanted an actress with bigger breasts, and he thought that she was perfect though, and that the entire casting process was just her being naked. Like that was it. It was just
Right,
her in front of these two old guys going, "Yes, this will do." No, no, her breast should be bigger. No, I think this
right.
will do. This is the one, because it's just so surreal and weird.
Right,
and
right.
and then the hero, the pretty boy hero, is played by Andrea Ochi Ochi Panidi. Oki Panidi. Oh man, Andrea.
Okipinidi.
Yeah. He's a producer these days, but he was in New York Ripper. And I would say more about his character and how funny that is, but it would constitute a very big spoiler for New York Ripper, so I'll leave it there. But he had worked with Fulci before. He is not a great actor, but he kind of fits little skinny Jesus, fill in. I think he's okay
Right,
um
right.
in what he's doing. But yeah, the Mace actor is definitely the one to watch. Oh, and I mentioned that Fulci did not work with Fabio Frizzi, his typical composer, but he did hook up with Claudio Simonetti, who was a founding member of Goblin and who still tours playing
Mhm.
Goblin music. Christina and I saw them do a live showing of Suspiria here in St. Paul not that long ago. I don't think Simonetti. I think this is one of Simonetti's weaker scores. I feel like he just took a bunch of outtakes from other things because there's just so little going on, and he's kind of ripping off Philip Glass. But um, there's a cool opening title, has a sort of driving thing going on, and kind of fits the dreamy vibe, I guess. But
Mhm.
that's another reason it originally disappointed me, is I was a big Goblin fan. I'm like,
Oh,
cool,
right, right.
Goblin working with Fulci, this would be awesome, and it's just not
Mhm.
the same. It's not the same thing.
Right, right.
The title theme actually reminds me of the NES video game Rygar,
Okay.
which is a kind of sort of obscure game that I for some reason had a copy of and played all the time. I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't think it was would have been popular in Europe. It is
I've
about a
never heard of it.
barbarian though. It's a little
Oh, is it?
barbarian guy. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. It was hard. It was kind of like
Okay.
it was like
A platformer or something?
it was like a platform, but it was like an early Metroidvania too, where you had to go get things
Oh.
to be able to
Uh-huh.
get to other places. Yeah.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. It's new to me.
Oh, it's something I completely forgot to mention is that two dolphins do save Mace at one point.
Oh,
He's
yeah, yeah,
crucified
when
and
he's
thrown
thrown
into a
off the
river.
cliff, yeah.
And
Uh,
I was trying to be like, well, where would they get dolphins? They shot in Mexico. And then I remembered that there's some sort of SeaWorld park in Mexico that's part of one of those documentaries about how all these poor animals were mistreated.
Oh,
So I was
no.
like, oh no, these poor dolphins are probably tortured. Ah, Jesus. But
Tortured
no,
into
they did
safe.
spend the money to get two dolphins to show up in one
Uh-huh.
scene. And then the postscript I have is that Fulci was didn't enjoy making this movie. He had signed a 2 motion picture deal with the producer Gianni
Uh-huh.
Di Clemente,
Uh-huh.
but he left as post production started. He just left. So who knows how much this is even his quote vision,
Oh,
because he just
wow.
left. And he reneged on the deal. He never made another movie with Di Clemente. He just went, nah, not for me. I didn't enjoy myself later. He
It's pretty
continued
baller.
working. It didn't ruin his career. That's all I got on this one.
You're right.
Any
Okay.
do you have any final thoughts on
It was a slog. I will I will watch more Fulci, like, because I feel like I didn't get the proper Fulci experience. This was a bit of a one-off. His heart wasn't in it, so
yeah.
I'll definitely try more Fulci in the future.
I would say that
Mhm.
his gothic horror movies, City of Living Dead, The Beyond, and House by the Cemetery are the ones that he's most involved in.
Okay, right.
And I just rewatched The Psychic, which is his most low key Giallo movie. I think that one works pretty well too,
Okay,
for
okay,
even
cool.
people who aren't into that kind of thing. All right.
Mhm.
Well, then, our last one here is Gore, spelled
Mhm.
Gor, no E on the end. 1987. American professor Tarl Cabot is transported via a magical ring to the planet Gore, where he must help an oppressed country overthrow its evil king and his barbarian henchmen. I have the least notes on this one. I couldn't find a lot of information. So we have the Corman cash-in, the Italian cash-in. Now we have the trifecta with a canon group Conan cash-in. And then for good measure, it was co-produced by British B movie guy Harry Allen Towers, who worked with Jess Franco a lot over the years,
Oh.
um, which explains why Jack Palance is in this movie, because Jack Palance and Harry Allen Towers. Jack Palance had a habit of showing up for like one scene in a Harry Allen Towers movie, uh, and then disappearing.
Oh, well, he does the very much the same in this
Yep,
one.
it's kind of his mo at this point. This is an American South African co-production,
Okay.
which, if you do the math, means that they made it in South
Oh,
Africa during apartheid.
hi. Oh no. Jesus.
Yeah,
Um.
1987 was still apartheid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Um,
No.
and Golan Globos of Canon, they are Israeli, so that was partially, I believe,
They love
certain
apartheid.
scenes. Yeah, certain scenes were shot there too, and it's officially an American production, so it's a real melting pot here. Um,
Mhm.
this is the only one we watched that's based on a specific existing series of books.
Yeah.
There are apparently 38 books in the John Norman Gore series. I imagine they're short books. I've never read them, but they got to be, what, 150-page books?
Surely there indeed, like if there's so many. And as far as I know, what do you know of the Gore books?
The only thing I know of the Gore books is that they are misogynistic. It's
Yeah.
literally the only thing I know. And do you remember how you described them to me yourself? Even though I already knew that, but your description, do you remember what it was?
No.
You described it as Princess of the incel version of Princess of Mars.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So essentially, these started in the mid '60s as just straight up John Carter ripoffs
Yeah,
by
I
a
mean,
professor.
the
Mhm.
movie alone, the opening is it's
Yeah,
just John Carter.
yeah. And a bit more budget conscious. There's no
Yeah, yeah,
aliens that they ride. They're just straight up horses. But yeah, yeah. So this academic from Earth gets zapped to another world and gets into adventures, has to overthrow a tyrant. And I guess the first, dozen or so books, maybe it's less than that, maybe it's more than that, but somewhere in the mid '70s, uh, John Norman, which is a pen name of some British guy, I don't quite
yeah.
remember what. Uh,
I didn't write it down. I just wrote down John Mormon.
right, yeah, but in any case, somewhere like a decade into this, John Carter ripoff series is starts kind of drip feeding in these ideas of like women needing a strong male hand to dominate them, and they must they will only find true happiness in slavery than domination by men. And so like basically this his fake Barzu also becomes like this kind of misogynist utopia where all women are are owned by strong men.
Yeah.
So and that kind of like apparently that's not really yet present in the first bunch of books. Like he really like eased us into it. And I guess even in this movie, like that is the behavior of Oliver Reed's villain. Like,
I mean, this
uh,
movie itself isn't, I wouldn't call misogynistic because slavery's bad in this movie.
yeah.
And it's also equal opportunity. Oliver Reed's character has a lot of male slaves, and he's an equal opportunity cheek caresser throughout
Yeah,
this
yeah,
movie. It's pretty heavily implied that he swings both ways,
right, yeah.
as long as they're slaves.
Mhm. And I thought that was quite hilarious that like going in, I knew this was based off of the Gore series, which is um, very famously misogynistic. But like after these other previous two movies, I came away from this one thinking, hilariously enough, this was the least misogynistic
Yeah,
of the three.
at the
Uh,
very least, it says maybe women shouldn't be slaves in a kind of roundabout way, but it says that.
Yeah, and like what I said earlier about Sorceress, where I was like, oh, if the twins were just the love interests, I'd be like, oh, they get a fair amount of bit stuff to do. Well, like
Yeah,
Talina, the love interest in this one, actually does get a fair amount of stuff to do. Like she fights and she's pretty capable. She even kills a mini boss guy. Uh,
yeah. She is. I was going to talk about this later, but since you brought her up, I think that she's the best of all of our leading ladies in all these
yeah,
movies. I mean,
which is
which
very
isn't the
funny
highest
considering.
bar. It's not the
Uh-huh.
highest bar, but
Oh, true,
still.
true, true.
Um, and I would watch more movies with her. There was a sequel to this that she
Mhm.
was in, but it wasn't like her solo movie. It wasn't like doing a Red Sonja kind of
Right, yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I assumed it was just like the professor man and her as his girlfriend continuing their adventures, right? I'm
yeah,
guessing.
yeah, and as I mentioned, Jack Palance is in this for just a minute. He's basically his scene is basically a proto Marvel post credit
Yeah, it's like
tease.
the
He
Thanos that
basically is like,
shows up.
this is going to be the villain in the next movie. By the way,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I actually couldn't find a copy of the sequel, so I've never seen it, but I don't like this one enough to really seek it out. But yeah, the actress's name is Rebecca Ferrati, and she
Hmm.
was also a Playboy playmate, though apparently after the movie. She was not a playmate who became an actress. There's people at Playboy saw stills from the movie and asked her if she wanted to pose. Um,
Understandable.
yeah, and then there's a story that her stunt double was hurt, and she excitedly took over stunt duties. So
Oh,
like
that's cute.
her bio claims that she is a competitive martial artist, like a real deal, like not fake it martial artist. So like there's a lot of awesome tomboy energy for this
Hmm.
lady, this really
Oh,
attractive
that's
lady.
cool. Yeah.
She's a familiar face to me, and I couldn't place her, but she has a lot of background roles in the 80s and 90s. She was in
Okay.
Three Amigos, which was a favorite when I was a kid.
Hmm.
She's in a scene in Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Right.
She's in a scene in Ace Ventura.
Oh,
Uh,
she's the lady that he saves the dog of
yes, I
at the
believe
start.
so.
Yeah.
She's in the softcore porn Embrace the Vampire. I don't remember, but her big thing is she's in a whole bunch of hair metal videos. Like
All
she
right.
was video vixen basically.
Oh,
So
cool.
she's just a cool person. She seems like a cool person. And yeah, I would have watched more movies with her character. The male lead, actually, so first I just looked it up. It's John Norman's name is John Frederick Lane Jr.
Hmm.
And do you know what his day job was?
Was he a professor?
A philosophy professor. Isn't that
Perfect.
awful? He
I
worked at
mean,
Nebraska, University of Nebraska, and USC, Southern California. Uh,
oh,
but
he's an
yeah,
American. He's not British.
no, he's from Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, just crazy, crazy, crazy to me to think that that this guy with these super misogynistic books is a philosophy fucking professor.
Professor. Yeah.
The male lead is Urbano Barberini, so we got another.
Incredible name.
Yeah, we got another Italian connection here. He had just been in the movie Demons, uh, about movie theater that gets overtaken by demons.
Is
Uh,
that is that a Bava?
yeah, it's Lamberto Bava.
Oh,
It's
right.
the younger Bava, and then
Mhm.
he's in Dario Argento's the same year as this. Actually, he's in Dario Argento's opera as a police captain. And again, I can't
Mhm.
go too much into that one because that would constitute a spoiler. And we're not talking about that movie, and I try not to spoil movies we're not talking about. But
Okay.
uh, but he is a familiar face to me, and he is done so dirty by his dub. Oh my
Oh, really? Okay.
god! Do they give him like? I'm sure he has his Italian accent was thick enough that they decided they had to dub him. But he has the wine. He's just like talking like, "Are you sure, guys? Should we do this?" And he's like this super. It's so funny. He's like a the librarian trope where he takes off his glasses and
Then
gets
he's
put
a
in a barbarian shirt and suddenly, oh wait, this guy's sexy, as if we didn't
yeah,
notice in the early scenes
right.
because he had glasses on. But like he's super nasally and he sounds like the nebbish guest star from a sitcom or something. It's very
Right,
funny to
right,
me.
right.
He's also apparently in Casino Royale as one of the other card players around Daniel Craig. He's
Oh, cool.
I don't remember that scene well enough, but apparently there's a guy with an Italian accent that is him. So he's still
Okay.
around. He's still acting. He's
Oh,
doing
that's
some
cool.
stuff. But yeah, back to Oliver Reed. So
Yeah.
Oliver Reed and I feel bad saying this, but Oliver Reed and Jack Palance are both pretty famous for being such massive alcoholics that they couldn't work in Hollywood.
Right.
So having them both in this movie that's shot in South Africa by Israeli producers with a multicultural cast, it sort of fits, and it's
Mhm.
unfortunate. Reed is halfway in, I think. He spends a lot of the movie kind of whispering, which is not what I want from Oliver Reed.
Mhm.
But he gets into it in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
He's trying a little bit. When I was younger, I used to confuse him and Brian Blessed for some reason, and I feel
I
like
kind
this
of
is
get
the
it. I gotta get it.
this is the one movie where I can show people what Oliver Reed looks like in this movie, and they say, "Oh, yeah, I could kind of see
Right,
what you're
yeah.
saying." So, not long after this, Jack Palance has his renaissance because he was in City Slickers. It was a big hit. He won an Oscar.
Right, right.
Um, Reed got his renaissance in 2000 for Gladiator, though unfortunately he
He
died.
died during the, yeah.
So Oliver Reed never got to enjoy any of that. Jack Palance got at least a decade of "I'm back on top again" kind of thing.
Yeah. Aw.
Um, but the director, who we haven't mentioned yet, Fritz Kiersch, who's not German, he's from Texas. His most famous and seen movie is probably Children of the Corn, which has a lot of
Oh,
fans.
right.
I am not
No,
one of
I
them.
don't like it. I mean, I've seen
I
it,
don't
but
like
like,
it at all.
it's pretty
There's a
bad.
really cool short version of the Stephen King story that is on YouTube from, I think, 1980 or late 70s. That was one of those
Hmm.
ones where Stephen King's like, "Oh, give me $1 and I'll let you make a movie." Much better version of it, but
Oh, wow.
creepier,
Yeah.
very low budget, but well done. But
Hmm.
he did a he's basically works in every he is a for hire type guy. He did Children of the Corn, a horror movie, teen comedy called Under the Boardwalk, it's a war movie called Into the Sun. He did kind of white girl straight to video martial arts movie with something called The Stranger, which was something that kind of comes out of Cynthia Rothrock is
Hmm.
popular, so you're trying to find any white girl who can do any sort of martial arts.
Hmm.
And then he did the Crayola Kids Adventures Tales of Gulliver's Travels, which is some sort of Crayola commercial that went straight to video.
That's funny.
So yeah, not a favorite, but he had a lot of stuff going on. But I just imagine the behind the scenes on this was a nightmare. You have two notorious alcoholics. You're shooting in apartheid. You've got language barriers.
Right, yeah.
I do think shooting in South Africa or in Israel did give it kind of its own look where it's really dry and deserty, you know? I think that kind of works for it, but maybe only like in two scenes.
Right, right. Yeah, I
Oh,
was thinking during the movie that like I feel like it needed some more locations beyond dunes and quarry to be to be somewhat enjoyable. Like it's very samey.
yes, very it's just not a lot happens. It's
Mhm.
it's a lot like the Sorceress. We're just I mean, yeah, Conquest is a slog as you said, but stuff happens in in Conquest.
Mhm. I
This
think it's very much like imagine if Stargate had no money.
mm,
Like
yeah,
uh, at
or
least there's
Vision, really.
yeah, exactly. Like there's some Ra is at least a Egyptian god and he has some spaceships and stuff, you know. The villains that are suppressing the native population are just guys on horses like the and they
Yeah,
take slaves, I guess. There's no gimmick, there's no visual element there. Yeah, like why are we on a different planet even? Like you
yeah,
could have made this a you could have made this a straight up Roman movie or whatever, you know?
right, right.
Uh, and so uh, and and because there's no hook and the interplay of our Dirty Dozen team isn't all that. Like sure, Talina's cute and she does her best with the stunts and whatnot, but there's not a lot of fun interplay, so you're just not given a lot to work with as a willing audience member. Like I'm willing to go along with something
Yeah,
crazy, but I'm just not given a lot. Even like for such a notoriously sleazy book series, I think it's a PG
it's a
movie
PG
even.
movie. It's a
Yeah.
PG movie. It has a lot of bathing suit dancing,
Mhm.
like not naked dancing, but like there's some really long scenes of women dancing. And actually it's another equal opportunity thing. At the end there's a big dance sequence with Oliver Reed's slaves, and there are
Mhm.
three men involved in the
Yeah,
sexy
I
dance.
thought that that almost
I was
that
like I like that.
Yeah, me too. I was almost like this almost feels like an actual musical sequence.
Yeah, yeah. I also really like Paul Smith in this. He plays a sort
Oh
of
yeah,
flavor.
he's the mini boss that she kills.
Right, and most people know him from the 1980 Popeye movie. I think he's in Red
Yeah,
Sonja.
Pluto, he's Pluto. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Bluto. Um, there's a scene where he gets mad and he flips the table, and the two guys sitting at the table also flip,
Mhm.
which is for some reason my enduring image from this movie. When I see the poster for Gore, I picture Bluto flipping the table and knocking guys over. It's a fun shot. And then, like you said, Arnold Vosloo is in this,
He's the bully. He's the yeah.
but he's not even in the like you'd think, oh, the mummy guy, he'll be it's not unlike the mummy. It's in the desert, you know, have naked people running around. You'd think he'd be a barbarian, but no, he's the he's the yuppie asshole who steals
Yeah.
Tarl's girlfriend
That's so
in our
crazy.
world, the real world, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Uh, yeah, and then there's one scene that I really like because it's very stupid, where Tarl, and I also want to say his name's Tarl, and no one ever
Yeah.
balks at his name being Tarl.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the name he's given in the barbarian world of Gore. He's just in
That's
his normal
that's his
day-to-day
Earth
life.
name. Yeah.
It's Tarl. But so I always think, and I know this doesn't start with Army of Darkness. I know this is a trope that goes back, but there's a thing in Army of Darkness where Ash comes back with knowledge of technology and a car, and he's got some stuff, and he's going to use that to his advantage in the war against the oppressive zombies.
Hmm.
Tarl has one thing, and it's a Casio calculator watch. And you're like, oh, he's going to use it to make calculations. No, he uses it to reflect the sun into someone's eyes so that they don't so that I think that it's the girl is the one who kills somebody because of that. I can't remember what. There's this
Yeah.
other barbarian character who has just got nothing going on. I can't remember his name or anything. He's he's just this skinny dude. Anyway, yeah, so he has this Casio watch. Oh, that's gonna come up. Comes up twice. Once to shine at a guy's eye, and once because he forgets to turn off his fucking uh notification or like alarm, and it goes off, and the bad guys hear it and find them. Which, like, just the opposite. I mean, the whole point, Ash in the Evil Dead movies is a bumbling idiot, and that's
Right.
part of the fun, is watching the bumbling idiot pull shit together to fight the bad guys. This is a bumbling idiot who makes it worse with his future tech, or his other world tech, I guess, in this case. Yeah, I think this one's a mixed bag in terms of its production design. I think that the costumes are kind of cool. They had a good helmet guy on staff. And yeah, I think if it would have gone in for like an R rating and had some nudity and gore, it might have actually helped.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
I mean, this is like a pre PG-13 PG. Like, you probably would get a PG-13 for the bathing suit dances, but uh, definitely was not going for an R rating and got a PG rating. This also has zombies. All three movies had some sort of zombie fight warriors. That's the only creatures in the whole movie are these zombies, though, and they aren't in it very long. Just not a lot of, it's basic competence, but no imagination is, I guess, the way I'd put it.
Wait,
It's
were there zombies in Gore?
they're very briefly when they go through the secret entrance, when the dwarf guy shows them the secret
Oh,
entrance.
right. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
might not
Yeah.
be zombies. They might be supposed to be lepers or something.
Right. Yeah. Before we end up in Oliver Reed's fortress or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh man. Yeah. They did not make a huge impression.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, this is the movie you could show a human who doesn't care about stuff, and they
Yeah.
go, "Oh yeah, that was a movie." Whereas the other two movies, they would say, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What are you
Exactly.
showing me?"
No. Yeah. I think I even like within like the first 20 minutes or so of Gore. I think that was kind of my reaction of like, okay, so this one is actually attempting to be a movie that entertains human beings.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's doing it very well, but it is sort of making gestures towards being cinematic entertainment.
Yeah, the other two are done by weird tourists who
Mhm.
have bad producers and hate the experience. This one is
Right.
made by a guy looking for a paycheck who just wants to make sure there's not a hair in the gate, and the cameras in focus. We're just going to
Yeah,
get this done.
exactly.
I said I couldn't find the sequel. I actually I forget about this. The sequel was on an episode of Mystery Science Theater under the
Yeah.
alternate title, just Outlaw instead of Outlaw of Gore.
Hmm.
So that's like one of the only ways I was able to find it, and I just didn't want to spend my time watching a truncated version of a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
movie.
If I watch a actual movie, like I'll watch the actual movie. It doesn't
Yeah,
count if you see the MST3K version.
exactly. And I say that as someone who lives in St. Paul and used to work across the street from where they filmed the early MST3K, and I could
Oh,
get
that's so
chased out of
cool.
town for saying this, but yeah, I'd much rather watch the actual bad movie myself. Yeah, I mean, the same thing where I was saying like Sorceress was in theaters against Return of the Jedi, and imagine
Hmm.
paying the same price for it. This didn't get a theatrical release. By the time they
Oh,
were
wow.
done, by the time they were done, they just went, maybe not. They sent it straight to video.
Right.
From what I can tell, it didn't get a theatrical release anywhere, which is unusual. Usually, if like America doesn't get it, but yeah, they'll release it in like Lithuania in theaters
Yeah,
or
right.
something
I was
like
gonna
that.
say Germany or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but if it would have come out, I was looking at because it came out in February of '87. It would have been in theaters against The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and that is just the
Might have
funniest.
been funny counter programming. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just like oh my god, this another sliding doors moment where we almost had people going, I don't want to see that movie, I want to see this movie, and it's insane. And then the only other note I really have on this is that they somehow got Pino Donaggio to do the score for this and the sequel, but they didn't credit him. And I can only imagine, and I couldn't find this anywhere, but I can only imagine that Donaggio scored something different and they stole it. Because why would you not credit him? Because he's like an
Right.
actual name. Like he made the Barbarians and the Lou Ferrigno Hercules, but he's also making Brian De Palma movies at this point. Like
Hmm.
he's a good composer. So either he wanted his name off, but then why would he do the sequel? I think they must have stolen it. I think it must have been a
Right. Right.
Battle Beyond the Stars situation, and I just couldn't
Hmm.
find any connections there. But that was weird to me. That was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any other thoughts on Gore?
No, I think we got my thoughts already. The absolute surprise that, I mean, while not a good movie by any means, I think this one came the closest to entertaining me.
Hmm.
Uh, because like, you know, they were just professionals trying to make entertainment, even if they didn't quite succeed.
Right.
And it had surprisingly a cute girl that kicked some amount of ass, even though she wasn't the lead.
Yeah.
Which again, in the three movies that I saw, is quite the is quite the find. Is quite
Yeah, we have
the.
one with twins that have no acting ability or really a lot of sex appeal, if I'm honest.
Mhm.
Um, then only the villain and the girls who die, so they're not really important. And then, yeah, so I mean, it really does. It really is a huge step up having a
Yeah.
charming actress playing an actual character that hits things and it has enough martial arts training to look cool doing it.
Right, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not gonna say, oh, Gore is a good one, because no, it's still not good. But but yeah, I think you really nailed it. Like out of these three movies, you could show this to a normal person. I mean, like, yeah, this is a sci-fi movie, I guess. Kind of a cheap and lame one, but okay, sure, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. People would not understand what the hell was happening if you just showed a normal person Conquest.
Right, yeah.
And it's a little bit too long to do that as a joke too. Like sometimes you see weird movies, you're like, oh, I'm gonna show this to someone and it's gonna be so fun. Like I don't think Conquest is a party movie.
Right, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Um okay, well then do you have any other like you said one thing you said to me is that this makes me appreciate Red Sonja and Conan the Destroyer more, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, you said it earlier today that like someone asked you, "Are you going to do Beastmaster for your sword and sorcery movies?" No, Beastmaster is too close to a B, maybe even lower tier A movie. And
Yeah.
yeah, Red Sonja and Conan the Destroyer are definitely that. People love to like, say, "Oh, they're Destroyer and Sonya are not in Barbarians League," and like, yeah, maybe not, but like look at shit like this, you know. That there's Red Sonja has a goddamn Ennio Morricone score.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's sort of like your mind gets fried when you do this podcast, because like I watched all those shot on video movies from the 80s that were like, some of them were literally teenagers shooting with a camcorder, and somehow it got a release because video stores just wanted content that much.
Right, right,
And so when you watch something like that and you see someone say, "Oh my god, uh, this Hollywood release that I just saw is the worst movie ever made,"
right.
and you're just like, "Just grow up."
Be real. Watch some more movies, buddy.
Get your shit together. Watch some real garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, I've learned to appreciate. Like I appreciated a lot of things about Conquest. I don't know if I appreciated a lot of things about Sorceress other than the very Muppety looking monsters at the end. I like that part a lot. So okay, well, tell people a little bit more where they can find your work then.
Oh, right. Well, I'm at swordsandsorcerymagazine.com. I'm at New Edge Sword and Sorcery. Um, and actually, if you want a nice overview of where my uh, fiction is nicely grouped by series, you can go to luanawrites.card with double R, CARRD .co. That's luanawrites.card, double R, .co. So I think that if you're into that type of stuff, sword and sorcery, like I've been pretty negative about these movies, like oh, what is she doing writing that stuff that she doesn't seem to like? I like it a lot, but there's also a lot of crap in that genre. But if the classic like Harryhausen, John Milius, Conan stuff, if that tickles your fancy, I think you might like my stuff too. So
And you still have
check
a
it out.
podcast. You still have a podcast going,
I,
right?
I still have a podcast going. This Monday we are doing a double episode recording. Defend Your Trash Movie podcast with me and Travis Kirkland. You can find it on wherever you find your podcasts, on rss.com as well. We're actually doing Monos, The Hands of Fate this week,
Mm.
and Bad Boys 2. Is that, is that right?
Oh, I'm the only person I know who really doesn't like Bad Boys 2.
Oh,
I
that's weird.
it took me 3 sittings to get through it. I love the car chase,
Right.
but I remember finding it really unappealing.
It is very unappealing. It's very gross. It's
Yeah.
very like I like I think it had been a while since I saw it, and I was like, wow, this is a very like post 9/11 ugly movie.
Mhm. Yeah, for
Like
sure.
just a lot of like American insecurities come to the fore, and like I think it's very normal to be grossed out by Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
It's a very repulsive movie. Like I think you either love it or hate it. I think I don't want to be in a room with a person who watches Bad Boys 2 and is like, oh, that was an okay movie, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, yeah, do you have emotions? Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, someday, I gotta find someone who has one of these podcasts like yours, and I can defend, Alien Resurrection and Friday the 13th Part 5. Those are my 2. Come on, guys, these are pretty good movies
I
that
like
people
those
really
movies too.
fucking love.
Like
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection is like quite funny and a fun adventure.
Yeah.
And the Roy, a fake Jason, is like a hard worker. He that's a big body count that he makes,
Yeah.
and it has like one of the nicest pairs of boobs in the entire
Yeah,
Friday
it's
the
true.
13th
That's true.
franchise. So like, what more do you want from a fucking Friday movie,
Better
man?
really good violence too. Oh, and also, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is another one, which, a lot of people hate that I like. The Dream Child.
So that's the
I
Rennie Harlan one, right? Right.
No, that was 4.
Oh,
It's Stephen
Stephen Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Predator 2.
Another, kinda underrated guy who kinda
Yeah,
disappeared then.
yeah, totally.
Cool. Well, as usual, you can find me on the Genre Grinder website. There's a Genre Grinder YouTube page. You can find me at Gabe Powers, one word, at both Blue Sky and on Letterboxd. And I'm putting together another shirt to raise money. But this time it is going to be an image that I find hilarious and possibly no one else in the world will. So I'm not planning on selling too many, but I'll wear it when I finish it. Thanks for listening. Until next time, if you find yourself magically transported to another world with primitive technology, be sure to turn off your alarm on your Casio calculator watch. This advice might just save your life. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.